2020, we beat Tennessee at Tennessee, and we're like on the team bus, and we were probably doing some things that the administration didn't want us to do near the bus. But
Jon, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. We do appreciate it. How are you, sir?
I'm outstanding. I appreciate you guys having me today.
So I'm going to start with some real serious stuff, some real heavy hitting stuff, because I will turn 40 next week. And I know that you will turn 40 next week. Not to call you out, but do you have any advice for those of us who are in this current situation and about to hit a very specific number on our birthday next week?
Yeah, I don't have any real good advice other than enjoy the time you got, man. I've been telling people I'm 39 this next week, so I didn't know I was turning 40 yet. But no, I'm going to celebrate. I can promise you that I'll have a good time. I'm going to party.
That's exactly what one should do. All right, so you congratulations on the gig. Of course, you take the Troy job. It's your first head coaching job. Now, everybody who gets a job, you have to go in and you have to have fresh eyes. You have to implement an organization, hundreds of people all working together to try to build a program that can kind of create success. How does one go about doing that if you've never actually done it before? Yeah,
I think I've got a lot of great experiences to draw on in regards to being around really quality head coaches in my career. I think as an assistant coach, you're always taking notes on processes, procedures, operations to make sure that if you ever have the chance to be the head coach, you've got an idea of what you want it to look like. And so for me, going back to when I was in college, Rich Brooks was a tremendous mentor to me. Coach Brooks is really the first person in college football that I started to take note on everything he did and how he did it and the battle rhythm of the year and his process and culture and calendar. Yeah. And so Coach Brooks is a tremendous impact on me. I worked for Ron Kerr at the University of San Diego, Curtis Johnson at Tulane. I came here and worked for Neal Brown, who was a really good friend of mine. I was here from 15 to 17 with Neal. And Neal and I are extremely close. Probably will end up seeing him next week sometime while we're on vacation. And so I sat right next to Neal for 3 years and in this same job and learned a lot from him about how to be a head coach. And he was a first-time head coach and saw him get his opportunity. And I was the assistant head coach here, linebackers coach, and special teams coordinator here with him. And so during that time, I probably learned a great deal about being a first-time head coach. Then I went to Ole Miss and worked for Matt Luke and really saw him stabilize the tough situation. I thought Matt did a phenomenal job. I think a lot of the success that's happened at Ole Miss, and you got to credit that staff there now with Lane and those guys. But I think Matt made some really hard decisions during some tough times that were for the long-term health of the program, not the short-term. And so learned a lot from Matt about how to face adversity. And then I had the chance to really I feel like I got my master's in being a coach the last 3 years from Mark Stoops. Mark, tremendous mentor to me, unbelievable friend, and kind of polished me off on some things in regards to how I want to do stuff here. You are yourself. You make it your own. I'm not Neal. I'm not Mark. But I do have a lot of both of those guys in me and learned a ton from both of them. And I think you have to be true to who you are and how you put things in place.
Well, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like Neal's approach and Mark's approach very similar in sort of the culture. And I know these are cliches, but like it's hard to explain organizational structure and psychology without words like culture and identity and philosophy and all those kinds of things. But it seems like their approaches are very similar. And then on top of that, you also needed, especially at Kentucky with Mark, you needed patience and investment from the administration. Is that the formula? Worry about people inside and then get support outside. And is that the thing that works regardless of where you are coaching football?
I think the thing you just said first is so important is people. This is, it's about people. And as a coach, the first thing you have to recognize, in my opinion, is that this is a player's game. If there were no players, there would be no coaches. And so this game's not about me. It's about how do I equip our players and give them the resources to grow to be their absolute best in every area of their life. And so I think around Neal and around Mark, the thing I spend most of my time thinking about is player development on the young men that's in our program. And yeah, recruiting is a big part of that, but the most important guys in the world are the guys that are on our team to me. And we're going to recruit at a high level and pursue selecting the best players that fit here for us to help us go where we want to go. But it's about player development. It's about relationship. It's about trust. It's about those sort of things with your players.
Yeah.
And then with the culture piece, like, yeah, that may be sort of a cliche thing at this point where a lot of people are throwing that around, but I do believe you have to fight every day for what do you want the culture of your program to look like. And if you don't fight for it, man, you lose it. And so for us, we're constantly reminding our guys, what is the standard? What do we want to be about? What do you want? What do you want people to say when they first think of who you are? And so we're very big on relationship. We're a player's first program. Individual development stuff is critical. The model that we do, and then you have to engage with the people that can help resource your program. I mean, I think you're constantly trying to figure out who has an interest in Troy football and how can we engage with them, connect with them, and get them to help us elevate what we're doing.
Yeah. Famously, right? Saban is all about like the janitors are representing Alabama football like at all times, like even all the way down to that level of the program and the detail you need to sort of set that standard you're talking about. How would you describe Troy's recruiting philosophy to find success under your leadership?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, we all know there is some level of requisite ability you have to play this game. You can't play Division I college football without some level of ability. So there's a foundational floor of what is a good enough player, right? Or a talented enough player. Right. But then the things that we look for, a lot of intangibles are, do you love football and the process of your development? Or do you like the idea of playing college football? What are you about? So love of the game, I think toughness in just regards to mental and physical toughness are big attributes that we identify. So those are two things we look for. I mean, we look for guys that are smart and tough and that are good enough. You know what I mean? Like they have enough
Right.
ability. We want to constantly get the absolute best player we can. I'm going to take the best players we can recruit in this program and attract those guys. But I also am aware enough to know we've had some really successful players in this program, like Carlton Marshall, who did not acquire a whole lot of Division I recruiting attention when he was coming out of high school. And he's the best linebacker in this conference right now. So to me, I think what are the things that make a good player aren't always height, weight, speed. Yes, you're looking for those things, but you're also looking for smart, tough football players that love getting better every day.
I'm sure the linebacker inside of you would hate it if he ends up the all-time leading tackler in Division I history. I'm sure you'd hate that.
Dude, I would love nothing more, man. What an incredible story. Yeah. I've shared this with a lot of people since getting the job, and some people knew this when I took the job, but I actually recruited Carlton here when I was an assistant. I got him to walk on. He's from McGill-Tulane High School in Mobile, and I got him to walk on here. Okay, and then I left and went to Ole Miss before I ever really coached him. And but the only reason I was recruiting Carlton, I say the only reason, the main reason I was there, they had a quarterback that was a big time player named Bubba Thompson, who's now in the AAA organization for the Rangers, and he's probably going to be in the big league soon. And we were recruiting Bubba here to play quarterback. And I'd watch Carlton play live, and every time I watched him play, I was just blown away with how instinctive and natural he was, and he seemed like every tackle, and so I met with him a handful of times and showed him Nico Marley, who I had coached at Tulane. It was Bob Marley's grandson and Rohan's son. And so I showed him, I coached Nico at Tulane. And I said, man, I don't care how tall you are. I don't think after you make a tackle, they make you stand up and measure your height to see if the tackle counts or not. But I left by the time he really became a player here. And so got him to come here, and then I was gone. And so I'm so excited and so thrilled to watch him play one more season of college football. He's been on a mission with the way he's been working and leading our team. And it's so fun to see his success because he's such a unique, remarkable story.
It's amazing how the combine, especially at linebacker, that position, like the combine numbers seem to matter so much less than your ability to understand what you're seeing, process it quickly, and get to the right spot, right? Like that's what makes a great linebacker. It's not about the size of your hands or whatever.
Yeah, I think the instinctive piece at that position, there's certain things that some guys have or they don't have, like guys that naturally find the football and have good vision lines and awareness and instincts and spatial awareness and how to play a block and how to leverage the ball and those sort of things. We can practice the heck out of them, and I can help guys get better at them. But there's some guys that just walk in the door and you're like, man, that guy's good. He just knows how to play the game, because it's almost an art form playing that position, because you have things going on in front of you, behind you, and to your right and to your left at every minute. You're in the middle of all of it. And so it's not like playing field corner or boundary corner where, hey, you're doing this job over and over and over. There's so many different unique things that are adjusting and changing the game. And so those guys that are good at it, man, that are really naturally very good at it, it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah. You've got a hell of a defense. They were top 25 in the nation in a lot of categories last year. You guys will be one of the best defenses in your conference again this year. However, how much different does the Sun Belt look today than it did when you were here a couple of years ago? Because it seems like it's a little different, Coach.
It's significantly different. Yeah, no knock on these places, but back then, New Mexico State and Idaho were in the league. Now you've got Coastal Carolina, James Madison, Marshall, Southern Miss, ODU. I mean, and Coastal Carolina was in the league when I was here last, but they weren't like they've been the last couple of years.
Right.
I mean, quite honestly, when I was here as an assistant, Coastal Carolina was nothing like they are today in regards to this level of success they've had. And so I do think top to bottom, this league is extremely competitive. I think credit to our leadership at the the chancellor, president level, and athletic director level across our league of what they've been able to do in the changing landscape of conference realignment. What we have as a conference group of five right now, I think we're pushing to be the best group of five league here. I really do. And we want to add value to this thing at Troy. I think we're primed and ready to take some steps forward and push the envelope. I want to win right now. I don't want to wait. I'm not trying to, I've got a 5-year plan, but I also got like a 5-minute plan. I want to win today. And so we're hard at work, but it is a challenging league. You look at our schedule from the other side this year, we play App State and Marshall. Well, those are two bowl teams, and App's had it going on for a while now. So we've got really good crossover games, and then Lafayette's been really good the last few years as well on our side now, the West. So it's an exciting league.
Way to ease your way into being a head coach in the conference at App State and Marshall at home to start your entire career.
Yeah, we got no favors on the schedule, but hey, look, you want to play the best, but we didn't get any gimmies, man. We play Ole Miss, Alabama A&M, who's a really good FCS program right now, has added a bunch of transfers. Western Kentucky, who won a bunch of games last year in Army non-conference. So we're excited about those challenges. And then from the other side, we got App and Marshall, which is probably the toughest draw that I think anybody on our side got, which, hey, good, man. We get to go play the good teams. That's exciting. You want to play the best people you can play and measure yourself against the best.
It's always a lot of fun right in the middle of your schedule to be like, no, we're going to have to play Army on defense now. That's just like, give me a break with that.
Yeah. That's like going to the dentist in the middle of the season to get a root canal, but no, it'll be one thing that's kind of funny. We hired Sheil Wood to be our defensive coordinator. He was the co-DC and safeties coach in Army. And I'm not going to lie, I've known Sheil for a while. And when I first started the process of vetting who I wanted to be our DC, I was not even really fully thinking about Army was on our schedule in the future. And then as me and him were talking, he's like, yeah, Coach, Army and Troy play next year. I'm like, that's right, they do. This would actually work out really well. But they present a lot of issues. They've done a great job and really been extremely successful the last several years.
I want to go back to the end of your playing career. And for those that don't know, you sort of have this career playing all kinds of minutes, all kinds of snaps, all kinds of games, and it's cut short by a spinal injury. Can you kind of, and basically you're told going into your final season, like, hey, you can't play ball anymore. What through that experience, can you try to explain what that did to help you become the coach and the person that you are in terms of how you manage players and see the game now? Is it how different is it because of that experience?
Yeah, without question, it changed me. I think, my junior, and I was not a very naturally gifted athlete. I made myself into a capable player at the SEC level. And in 2004, what was my junior year on the field eligibility wise, I led the team in tackles at the University of Kentucky and played above what my natural giftedness was, probably because of studying the game and love of the game and preparation and all those things. And so, but I had some neck issues that had kind of been lingering. Didn't really speak on them a lot until they got so bad that I couldn't not speak on them. And going into my senior year, I'd been named the Ronnie Lott watch list and getting ready to be a team captain and all these things. And sort of had the rug yanked from underneath me, and was devastated. I mean, I was rocked because I'd poured so much into my development and given so much of myself to the game. And really for a little while there was probably in a tough spot because the game means so much to me. So, but I had got my degree in finance, and finished my undergrad. And then Rich Brooks was the head coach who I played for my last couple of years at Kentucky. Rich calls, and I'll never forget where I was when I got the call. And Rich called me and said, "Hey, we have a spot as a graduate assistant. Would you like to come?" I was going to be around the team anyways. I wasn't going to leave. Right. I mean, what else are you going to do? My whole life I've wanted to be around the game. And so I went from being a player in April to a coach in late May, and traded my helmet for a whistle. And I think probably the biggest things that through that process, it helped me really try to instill in players is don't take any day for granted. Yeah. Give everything you have to every opportunity that presents itself, and do everything in life with a sense of urgency, because you don't control your time. You don't know what your time limitation is on getting the opportunity to do something. And so give it everything you got while you have the opportunity to do it, so that when you leave the game, you can be proud of what you left in its place.
Well, I think there's a lot of people watching what you guys are doing. The team's going to be pretty good this year, and you guys got a chance to make some waves. I think there's a lot of people paying attention. So congratulations on the gig. I'll leave you with this, and I appreciate your time. You've been very patient. But can you give us something on Coach Stoops that nobody knows? Like, I think his sense of humor is a little underrated, probably. I don't think many folks know about that. Give us something. Give us a story. Give us something about Stoops that nobody knows.
He's as quality of a guy. And I don't have to really put him out there. He likes to drink bourbon. I mean, he bought a bourbon company, so that's not really hiding a lot.
Right.
He likes to smoke a good cigar. I think one of the things that 2020 we beat Tennessee at Tennessee, and we're like on the team bus, and we were probably doing some things that the administration didn't want us to do near the bus. But Mark likes to have a good time. He's, on game day, he's as intense as they get that you can be around. I'm probably similar in that regard. I'm wired very similar to him there. But really at the core of Mark, man, he is as good of a human. He loves people so well. We had a really poor game last year against UT Chattanooga. We didn't play very good. We won the game, but we didn't play our best.
Right.
And we finished the year 10-3, and you look back at that game, and it's like, man, we almost lost to UT Chattanooga. That could have been a bad loss. And Mark, after that game, like he was like, hey, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Bring your kids to the pool at my house today. Like as soon as the game was over tonight. And it was because it was September. And so I think the thing that gets lost to Mark, he's as caring of a person. I mean, he would give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. I mean, he does more for people in regards to just being selfless and authentic and so genuine. He is as loving and as kind of a dude for the people that are around him. that you could ever find. He does an event in Lexington called Coaches for Kids. It's a bourbon and cigar event. And who knows? I mean, they raise $1 million every year, and it goes straight towards Children's Hospital. And just as quality of a guy. But he likes to have a good time, though, man. He likes to unwind, and he's fun to be around, and he's fun to coach for.
You're not allowed to be the head coach of Kentucky and not like bourbon. It's like in the bylaws. It's written there as someone who also enjoys the brown water from time to time. Yeah. Listen, it's amazing how being like a just treating people well. It's amazing how far that'll take you. Jon, congratulations on the gig. We can't wait to watch your team this fall. We appreciate your time. Thank you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.